Today we continue our Hippopotamus Defense series by covering a high accuracy, high level game played from Rob Willmann. Rob Willmann is one of my private students. He's also one of my Patreon supporters. And most importantly, he is one of my good friends. And this game here that he played with the Hippo was an over-the-board tournament game. So high stakes. He played this very well with a lot of nice ideas. I also want to shout out his Twitch. He has started streaming. If you are on Twitch, if you do watch streamers, I highly recommend you go check his content out. And I will leave a link in the description below for those of you that want to go give him a follow. Let him know who sent you there. But this game here, Hippopotamus Defense game, white ends up playing the move of c4, and here we have 1, 2, and 3. Now, I typically play d6, but I mean, e6, you can get away with it here. Knight e7, we now see d6, knight d7. I mean, y'all know the Hippo at this point, right? I mean, we know what we're doing. b4 is played, and I just want to say, like, in this kind of position, white has created a weakness, and that weakness is the square of d4. They've also given our bishop a lot of good activity here on that long diagonal. Untouched. They don't have a bishop fianchettoed on that diagonal. They're just giving us that diagonal. Cool, we'll take it. Here, there are playable moves, right? Including c5. Now, if white plays knight b5 there, I'm just warning you, right? The engine is looking at castling kingside as a good option. Actually allowing knight takes d6, in which case we can play knight c6 or knight e5. First off, I wouldn't even get to this point personally. So I don't even, it's just not my kind of line, right? But what I really want to caution you against is bishop takes a1. Because then white takes with check, and then they take the bishop off the board. Now, I know that we're down a pawn, but up the exchange, but it's not worth it because this queen is a monster. Now, they own the diagonal. Rook h7, for example, ugly. F6, ugly. White plays e5. And look, if we play f5, at this point, I mean, white has some crazy tactical chess, including bishop takes h6, followed by knight g5. Notice by white sacrificing that bishop, the g5 square is opened up. White is now attacking e6, which is hanging, and also attacking our hanging rook. This is resignable for us. For example, let's say we hang on to e6 to really protect our queen at the end of the day. Bishop takes a8, we're down material, and our opponent has knights on g5 and d6. Our Hippo didn't work out. And I typically don't play the move of a6 against a pawn on c4 unless I'm going for a c5 push, which is actually what we see in this game. Because if you're going for c5, at least myself, I don't want to worry about knight b5 stuff. So that's a big reason why a6 could be helpful even against a pawn on c4 if you're wanting to get c5 in and not have to worry about knight b5 stuff. Now a3 is playing the game. Here, c5, totally playable. And knight b5 can't even be thought about now because our pawn is covering that square. In the game, though, we end up seeing Rob go with the move of bishop to b7, going into a Hippo, and now the move of c5 again. White can't even think about going after that d6 pawn because we have our full thick-skinned Hippo ready to go. Queen b3 is played, and now rook to b8. Good move, principled move here, aiming the rook towards the opponent's queen. I know that there's a bunch of stuff in the way, but you never know when things are going to break open. Rook a e1 is what white goes with here. We now have castling kingside, a solid, principled move. For those of you that play the Hippo, don't castle kingside if there's a battery ram looking towards h6. But in this case, I mean, there's just the bishop, so we're not worried about white taking there. Knight e2 is played, and we now have b5. Great move here. High-level chess from Rob, really putting pressure on white's queenside. And if you're looking at white's pieces, I mean, they're all just kind of hanging out. I mean, there's some kind of party or something going on around this area because they're all just hanging out right next to each other, not doing much. Hey, we have good activity on the queenside. Let's break it open over there. That's exactly what we see. Now, in the game, bishop c3 is played. Let's say white takes on b5. Okay, we capture back with our pawn towards the center. You take again, our knight activates here, attacking both the queen and the pawn. And by the way, you can't take on b5 without us unleashing activity. Remember earlier how we were talking about, hey, you never know when things are going to break open? Well, things just broke open. The queen's attacked. The pawn on d3 is attacked. And if white takes on c5, the knight activates immediately. You want to run away? We can take. You take with the d-pawn, the bishop activates again. You go to d1 with the queen, which, by the way, is the engine move because, for example, queen a2 runs into rook b2 there, supported by our fianchettoed bishop. Queen d1, we have knight d3. The rook is trapped. We're winning. And if we see the move of queen takes c4, we could do multiple things, including rook c8, going, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to refocus my rook towards the queen. And the engine doesn't even like the queen running away because of, again, knight takes d3, us capturing on e4. I mean, white's position is just falling apart. So in the game here, again, we see the move of bishop to c3 from white. B takes c4 is played, and white should have captured with the queen. Even then, I mean, d5 here could have been played, and I mean, this is just great activity for us. Great, you know, presence from our bishops. Our knights are ready to get in there and play actively as well. Instead, we see d takes e4. What did that move weaken? That move weakened the pawn on e4, so black takes it right off. We have a trade here. Knight f4 is played, and the engine here likes the option of bishop takes f3, taking the knight. Now, why would we ever do that? That's kind of weird, getting rid of our good bishop for that knight. Well, really, the reason we're getting rid of that knight is to weaken the d4 square. So if you capture back, we have knight f5. There's no knight covering that. And if you play passively, okay, I mean, at that point, we can have queen f6 on the board. And now our queen has coverage of that great diagonal, good coverage of the f file as well. If white wants to play bishop c6, all right, your bishop was attacking our knight. Now our knight is attacking your bishop. You run away, we activate. Every single one of our pieces here is active. White, on the other hand, their bishop's good. Their queen's okay. And these pieces are just terrible. For example, let's say we see f4 attacking our knight. We could just take on c4. You capture back, we have a fork. You take, we take again. And at the end of all this, we have a nice fork against the queen and the rook on f1. All that to say, knight f4. Instead, in the game here by Rob, we see bishop to f5, which is still one of the top moves according to Stockfish. And now white plays knight h4. Do we want to play g5? Now, yes, this is technically a fork, a pawn fork, if you're looking at just the highlighted pieces. The problem is that white could just play knight h5 and, uh-oh, we're in check. We can't take on h4. So, got to be careful there, right? I think one really principled move that I really like is knight to f6. Just going, yeah, I'm gonna activate here, play solid, look towards more squares. Before, my knight could only see 6 squares on the board. Now it can see 8. And play from here. Instead, in the game here, we see the move of pawn to e5. White ends up taking on f5. And then here, white really does need to take advantage of this weakness. I mean, even then, black is still better. Knight b6 is an option. h5 is an option. Knight d4 is a great option. I mean, by white putting the knight on d5, yes, we can play knight d4 and nothing is going to kick our knight out. But at least white has some activity there. Instead, in the game, right, we see this move of queen to c3. And then, right, again, here we see not knight d5, right, which is still good for us. I like the move of f5 there. We instead see knight d3. And this knight is just not active. It's not even close to trading for our knight. And it's attacking 2 pawns that are both defended by a pawn. So, I mean, this is good stuff for us. I really like this move of f5. This wasn't played in the game by Rob, but f5, good move, solid move. By the way, if white takes on c5, rook b3 happens. Rook b3, and we actually have something very similar to this happen in the game. The idea that we're about to go over with queen d2. What could we do here? Well, we could take with the knight. That works. And white here going, yeah, I'm going to take the knight, and then I'm going to capture off that pawn on e5. They just lost themselves the game. We have a winning move here, winning tactic, knight f3 with check. And if the bishop takes, I'm not taking that bishop. I'm taking the hanging queen. We could also take with the d-pawn, same idea. You want to go, okay, I have 2 attackers, 1 defender. Okay, I'm going to trade off. Okay, sure, you won the pawn, but now knight f3 again. And we say thank you for the queen. So that's a solid principled move there, taking space with f5, getting those pawns side by side, you name it. Instead, here we see c takes b4. Followed by a5. I love this a5 move. White didn't take, but if they did, here we go. Rook b3, active move. You want to go to a1, you want to go to c1. Okay, thanks for the knight. You go to d2, rook a3 is a good move. And we're looking towards taking on a5 with our queen with good activity. And by the way, with rook a1, we could play knight b3 now or take the rook and then play knight b3. But, I mean, in either case, we're going to be up material there. Here, queen to c8 is a good option going after that pawn. And by the way, if something like a6, we could just take it. I mean, if the knight wants to run, we could activate our rook, play knight to b6. We have good coverage on that spot. So you're not just going to get a queen. We would take it with the knight. And if a7 now, I mean, we could just take the knight, go, yeah, take the queen, we'll capture back. Sure, white got some material back there, but they're still down 2 pawns, and they have a queen and a bishop versus a queen and a knight. And I'm taking a queen and a knight all day long because the queen and the bishop share the same abilities, right? Diagonal moving pieces. The queen and the knight both move differently and therefore are very dangerous in tandem with one another because they bring out different abilities, right? Queen takes c4. No matter what white does, we have a great position. So that's just an example line. And on top of that, returning to the game position of pawn to a5, if white does, I mean, push this guy to b5, queen c7 is a good move, taking control of the dark squares and going after that backward c4 pawn. But instead here we see the move of c5, black takes, which weakens c5, right? I mean, that pawn was defending c5. The pawn's no longer there, so we can take it off. In the game here, we have queen to d2. I was, a little bit surprised to see that. I think knight takes b4 is better, but even then, queen a5. Great activity here, doubling up against that knight. If you defend it, knight e2. Thanks for the queen. If you play knight to d5, hey, we're up material here. Let's trade. Let's take on c5. We got 2 incredibly placed knights, and we're dancing. But in the game, we have queen to d2. We have pawn captures on c5, and here we go. White goes, you know what? I have 2 attackers on e5. Black only has 1. That's true. But at the end of this, what do we have here? Knight f3. That's exactly what Rob does. Knight f3. He captures the queen straight off. And b3 is played here. And in this position, I really like the way he went about this. We're up 7 points in material, guys. We're up 7 points. And there is a temptation to keep the queen on the board because you don't want to trade for a rook. And if you do that, that's fine. Another way of thinking about this is going, you know what, if I could just get rid of everything and my opponent has a king and I have a rook, I mean, that's an easy dub, right? If you know your chess endgames course coming out soon, by the way, keep your eye out for that along with that 30% off discount code. The purpose of the endgames course is to get you into the top 1% of endgame players. So be on the lookout for that. But here, one idea we could do is just, hey, take on d1, play b2. We're looking towards promotion. I mean, you want to stop it, right? And if bishop c2, we're up material, we offer a trade. You run away, we take the bishop, and then we're looking towards promotion. You trade, okay, we're attacking your bishop. You don't want to lose it. You save your bishop. Okay, we throw in a check as an example. I mean, we can just look towards promotion there. And there you go. An example line in terms of how we're just up a rook. We're not up a queen, but, I mean, this is easily winning. And with white only having 3 pawns and a king, against 3 pawns and a king, and of course our rook, they don't stand a chance. Okay, so that's just an example line there in terms of how you could play that out. And hey, sometimes the engine's going, hey, Solomon, why would you ever do something like that? Why are you taking your queen and only getting 2 knights for it? Why are you, well, hey, at the end of it, if I'm still up a rook, if I'm still up 3 pieces, who cares? A win is a win. I'd rather take an easy win than a complicated one. It's just me. All that said, right, great game there. Really well played. The game actually ended with the move of pawn to b2. White resigned there. But yeah, great game there by Rob. Remember, go check out his Twitch. Give him a follow. Let him know who sent you. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. I wanted to finish this video out by giving a big thanks to Walter, Steve, Rob, that's a lot of Robs, Ray, Roger, and the rest of my Patreon community. I appreciate you guys a ton. If you guys haven't checked out the Patreon before, there are some exclusive benefits that you gain by becoming a member. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Peace.